She is needy in the morning. Oh, you need patted, huh? And then she gets riled up after a minute. What? What? What do you want? Meow. Oh, there you, yeah, that's what I thought. There, girl, frisky, frisky. What are you doing? I'm patting you. I'm patting you. Don't be mean. Don't be mean. Yeah, I'm patting you. You big silly kitty. Don't bite me. Don't bite me. Isabel even had enough last night, dude. She she kept messing with her in that playpen thing, whatever. She's playing with me mean, Dad. What? Getting you. Get you. Get him. Ow. Don't eat me, bro. Really?
Dylan came down after school, and I was like, "Oh, check this out, Shane." I started playing notes. Dylan's naming them, and then I play some really complex.
Seers of the hegemonic era. I think many people in the US begins to question to what extent they're actually able to protect Taiwan if a conflict would break out. Um, my last question though was just how do you assess the development of the I guess the possible legitimacy crisis in the West? You already mentioned that many of the European leaders act more like bureaucrats, but it seems this is again not only limited to Europe, but also the wider political West. That is, there's a rise of these denationalized political elites acting like bureaucrats. They're not really looking after national interests. There's diplomats our key diplomats no longer believe in democracy, oh, sorry, diplomacy, especially with Russia. We have simply the foreign policy chief of the EU arguing that she doesn't think it's necessary to talk to Russia. We have media, in the media, we have journalists who act more as information warriors. And as you said, they're back at spinning narratives. Ukraine is winning, Iran is defeated, and anyone who challenges their narrative tend to be smeared, censored, cancelled. I mean, this kind of failure of institutions. It can work for a while, but over time it destroys trust and begins to degrade itself. How do you explain this, or how do you see where this is going? Because there would have to be a correction at some point. Otherwise, they could go off a cliff. And you see every year the trust in government. If you look at the polling, America across Europe, and politicians, it's at the bottom. The trust in media is all but gone. It can't continue like this. We're gonna start to, rot from within. How do you think it's moving towards a correction or just going off that cliff?
I think it's going off the cliff. I'm sorry to say this, but I think we will witness in our lifetime is the fall of the West. And if you just read some history, Oswald Spengler, even if you read like great religious traditions and their eschatologies, whether it's Buddhist, Hindu, Jewish, Christian, Orthodox, it doesn't matter. But they all talk about how when a society declines, there are certain signs that is in decline. Now, West right now has all these signs, okay? So one major sign is demographic crisis, where the population is aging drastically, and young people refuse to have children. So what do? They bring in immigrants. What do these immigrants do? They clash culturally with the local population. This is exactly what we're seeing in the West right now, where you have these baby boomers who refuse to die, and they've absorbed all the resources, they have all the global power, um, and young people refuse to engage in the economy. They refuse to have children, and they bring in like these millions of immigrants, both legally for the HB1 system and illegally. But it's causing tremendous social riot throughout society. And unfortunately, this is a sign of a society in decline. That's sign number one, demographic crisis. Second is financialization, meaning that the society no longer produces anything. It just gambles, it speculates. And young people just fall into um, crushing debt. So think of all these young people in America right now that have, certain loans that they can never ever get rid of. You can't spend bankruptcy on student loans. Think of credit card debt. 50% of Americans don't have access to $100 for an emergency. But so financialization, That's sign number two. The sign number three is more decay, where there's really no sense of right and wrong anymore in Western society. It's all about profit. It's all about following the rules. It's like people aren't allowed to exercise their common sense anymore. You know, this massive dictatorship going on. You know, I just read today that there were two Americans, Chad Uger, Hassan Pike. I'm sure you know who they are, but they were denied entry to Britain because they were a threat to the public peace. What does that mean, really, a threat to the public peace? But you're not even allowed to speak your mind anymore. And it's all part of this moral decay when people are not even allowed to have an honest conversation. Um, so, and then you have another sign, which is just evil triumphs in the world. So the more evil you are, the more powerful you become. So to speak about how these incompetent individuals, people like Peter Thiel, Jeff Bezos, just by co-opting the whole system, they're able to just billions and billions of dollars. I think just the idea of billionaires is outrageous. And never before in history have we had so many billionaires. Basically, you know, in America, 10 billionaires have as much money as the bottom 50% of the population. That's just astonishing to think about. You know, one hedge fund manager in America makes more in a year than all kindergarten teachers combined in America. So I think that the situation really is hopeless. I mean, I don't I mean, I don't know how to explain this to people, but historically, you know, you just look at humanity, the history for thousands of years. This is a this is a very typical cycle. Uh, Societies do decline over time, and we're seeing these radical symptoms of that. And there's really nothing people can do about it right now.
Yeah, what is strange is to see, well, as you said, with the concentration of wealth and the financialization of the markets, financialization of the economy, you know, it should be common sense that you can't structure human society like this when you have this much concentration of wealth. The irony is that often when people when people bring this up, the defense of the direction we're heading now, and it's not even stable, it just concentrates more and more. The wealth is always reference to liberal economists, be it, you know, Adam Smith, and David Ricardo and Mills and others. And the problem is that they said the opposite. You know, if you go through the works of them, they were, especially Ricardo, he recognized that with technological innovations, there will be more concentration of capital in the hands of capital owners. And it's not here. Just common sense. People just they didn't celebrate you know, rent seeking by, you know, financial elites, but we see essentially their names now being used to legitimize what they essentially warned against. So there's a lot of decadence all over the place, and yeah, quite
Initially, the outlaw usury, right? There's a reason why they did that.
well, so just the last point on the immigration issue, I think there's also something very mature, I think, in not just in Europe, but the US. Essentially, the debate is just between, you know, those are for immigrant, more immigration, and those who are racist. Either you're pro-racist or anti-racist. This is how the debate is framed. But,
Yeah.
you know, the outlook is a bit like the shift in international distribution of power. There is rapid shifts in the population. If there's no possibility to adjust, no one addresses what happens to the culture. You know, they use culture as this slang almost, but, you know, which doesn't have any meaning. But culture is, you know, what keeps society, is a glue that keeps society together. You know, it's like what we all have in common, what links us to the generation before us, what links us to those coming after us. Essentially, what's worth passing down from generation to generation is part of the collective consciousness. And if you do have a massive shift in culture, you cause a disruption there. So it has a function in human society, but but it is not discussed at all. It's either you hate immigrants or you like them. This is essentially the extent of our debate. It's quite
And
stupid.
and,
Yeah.
and look, like what people discuss is that a lot of legal immigration is human trafficking. So you look at the America's HB1 visa program. What they do is they bring in lots and lots of Indians, and these Indians often pay a huge bribe to enter the program. And then when they come into the program, they're slaves to the system, right? Because if a company doesn't like you, they can pull you back to India. So it's human trafficking. What I mean, like that's what it literally is.
Well, anyways, we ran out of time already, so I just want to thank you so
Huh.
much for taking the time and for all the listeners as well. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube. Predictive History is my channel. I also have a Substack where I go into detail um about my geopolitical analysis. It's predictivehistory.substack.com.
Excellent. Well, I'll leave a link in the description, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Patient audio. Okay, I wonder beta, huh? I wonder if it captures everything on Minecraft. Oh, kitty, kitty.
The Agori. The Agori are among the most controversial ascetics in the entire Hindu world, an extreme offshoot of the Shaiva tradition that worships Lord Shiva in his role as the Great Destroyer. What makes them so fascinating and so unsettling to outsiders is where they choose to live and practice: the cremation grounds. While most people avoid these places of death and so-called impurity, the Agori embrace them as their spiritual home. To them, this isn't a worship of death at all. It's a radical philosophy about the oneness of everything that exists. At the heart of Agori belief is the conviction that concepts like pure and impure, beautiful and disgusting are nothing more than illusions created by the human mind. If the divine is truly everywhere, then it must also dwell in the very things society fears the most. That's why they deliberately break taboos, meditating atop corpses, using a human skull known as a kapala, as a bowl, as a way of training the mind to let go of revulsion, fear, and worldly attachment. For an Agori, if you can sit calmly in the presence of death and still find peace, then your ego and your fears have been truly conquered. Throughout history, their numbers have always been tiny, and they've long been misread as devil worshippers, when in reality their roots lie in the search for liberation or moksha. Even today, the Agori still exist, especially in the holy city of Varanasi, standing as a symbol of just how far a human being will go in the pursuit of enlightenment. Vamachara. In the West, Tantra is often misunderstood as little more than a matter of physical ritual. In truth, it's a complex spiritual system from India with two major branches: the right-hand path, or Dakshinachara, which is conservative and orthodox, and the left-hand path, or Vamachara, which is transgressive and deeply controversial. It's Vamachara that has carried the dark reputation for centuries, precisely because it walks a road that intentionally violates the purity rules of traditional Hindu society. Vamachara centers on a concept known as the 5 M's, or Panchamakara, 5 elements that ordinary society treats as taboo or forbidden, but which here become tools of ritual instead. The logic behind it is philosophically striking. Rather than suppressing or denying desire and the things deemed unclean, the practitioner is taught to face them consciously and under control, then transform that raw energy into spiritual power. The core idea is that liberation isn't achieved by fleeing the world, but by mastering it from within. For followers of Vamachara, someone who can stand face to face with the greatest temptation without being ensnared by it has reached an extraordinary level of self-mastery. That's what separates a true practitioner from a mere rule breaker. Of course, precisely because it's so easy to abuse and misunderstand, Vamachara has always been taught in secret, passed quietly from teacher to disciple, and never opened to the public. Throughout history, orthodox voices have accused it of being black magic, but to its followers it's the fastest and most dangerous road to enlightenment, one meant only for those who are truly ready. Goetia and Solomonic demonology. Goetia is one of the most famous and most feared branches of ritual magic in the Western occult tradition. The term comes from a Greek word tied to wailing or incantation, and in European history it refers to the art of summoning and commanding spirit entities, often described as demons. Its primary sources are collections of magical texts known as grimoires, the most renowned being the Lamagittan, or the Lesser Key of Solomon, whose first section is called the Ars Getia. What makes this tradition so compelling to historians is its connection to King Solomon in legend. According to the stories that grew over time, Solomon was believed to have controlled 72 spirits and commanded them to build his temple. From this myth came a long catalog of entity names, each complete with a description of its appearance and powers, the very core of the Gedic texts. It's important to understand in historical context that these texts emerged in medieval and Renaissance Europe, an era when the boundaries between religion, philosophy, and magic were still incredibly blurry. For the scholars of that age, studying demonology didn't always mean worshipping evil. It was often an attempt to map the structure of the unseen world according to their own framework of thought. The Church, of course, condemned the practice and classed it as forbidden magic, which is why so many of these texts were kept hidden away. Today, Goetia is studied mostly as an artifact in the history of ideas, in a symbol of humanity's enduring fascination with power, fear, and the mysteries of the invisible world, rather than something genuinely dangerous in any modern sense.
PNC Bank brings you the call of the wild money moves. You hear that?
YOLO!
That's an internet troll telling you to put all your money into a single investment. He wants you to liquidate your emergency fund and buy a digital racehorse named Silicon Steve.
YOLO.
Stay vigilant. He's very persistent.
YOLO!
Guard against wild money moves with PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865.
Necromancy. Necromancy is the art that supposedly allows the living to communicate with the dead, and it ranks among the oldest and most dreaded occult practices in the history of civilization. The word comes from the Greek, a fusion of nekros, meaning corpse, and menteia, meaning prophecy. Its main goal was never to reanimate the dead the way modern movies imagine, but to draw out hidden knowledge, above all, glimpses of the future from those who had already crossed over to the other side. Its traces can be followed far back into the civilizations of Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, and Rome. In ancient literature like Homer's Odyssey, the hero Odysseus performs a ritual to summon the spirits of the dead in order to guide his journey home. Similar stories appear across countless cultures, a sign of just how universal the human desire is to pierce the veil between the living and the dead. What made necromancy seem so dark was the belief that it disturbed the peace of souls already passed on, a violation of the natural order between life and death. Many religious traditions viewed it as forbidden and dangerous both spiritually and morally. By the European Middle Ages, necromancy had become tightly bound to the image of black magic and pacts with evil forces, and those who practiced it could face severe punishment. For historians, necromancy is a fascinating mirror of humanity's relationship with death itself. The fear, the longing, and the timeless curiosity about what happens once life comes to an end, a mystery that to this day has never truly been answered. Palo Mayombe. Palo Mayombe is a spiritual tradition born from the meeting of Congo beliefs from Central Africa and the bitter experience of slavery in Cuba. When millions of Africans were forcibly brought to the Caribbean, they carried with them not only their labor, but their belief systems, their rituals, and their relationship with the spirit world. Out of this came Palo, a name that itself means stick or branch, pointing to the central role that natural elements play in its practice. At the heart of the tradition sits a sacred object called the Nganga, a vessel or cauldron believed to house spirits and the forces of nature. What earned Palo Mayombe its dark reputation in the eyes of outsiders is that the Nganga sometimes contains graveyard earth or elements connected to the dead. To practitioners, this is no act of evil. It's a way of forging a working pact with ancestral spirits, asking them for help in everyday life. In the eyes of its followers, the universe is filled with forces that can be worked with for healing, for protection, for good fortune. The relationship between people and spirits is seen as reciprocal. The spirits are honored and given offerings, and in return, they offer their aid. It's worth stating plainly and objectively that Palo Mayombe is a living tradition, still practiced by many people today, especially in Cuba and across the diaspora. The black magic label comes largely from misunderstanding and the stigma long attached to African religions. Through the lens of anthropology, Palo is a legacy of cultural resilience, the way an oppressed people held onto their identity and spirituality in the midst of suffering. Bazango and the darker side of Vodou. Haitian Vodou is one of the most misunderstood religions in the world, thanks largely to its sensational portrayal in Hollywood films. In reality, Vodou is a rich belief system born from the blending of West African traditions with Catholic elements, and it became the spiritual backbone of the Haitian people, even playing a role in the slave revolution that freed the nation. But alongside its everyday religious practice lies a more hidden and feared dimension. This tradition recognizes a figure called the Bokor, a practitioner of magic believed capable of working with forces for both beneficial and harmful ends. Unlike the ordinary religious leaders who focus on healing and guiding the community, the Bokor is said to operate in a gray zone, and from this comes the most famous legend of all, the zombie. In Haitian folklore, a zombie isn't a brain-eating monster, but a person whose will has supposedly been stripped away, turned into a slave, a fear that makes perfect sense in a society shaped by the memory of slavery. There's also a secret society known as Bazango, which historically functioned as a kind of underground justice system in an era when ordinary people had no legal protection. They're associated with nighttime rituals, secret codes, and frightening powers, though some historians also view them as a form of social solidarity. Through an educational lens, this darker side of Vodou is fascinating, not because of how scary it is, but because of how it reflects a history of trauma, resistance, and justice among an oppressed people. To understand it is to understand how a nation processed its fears and its hopes through belief.
For procurement managers, Grainger is the go-to partner that helps keep your healthcare facilities ready for patients. Because there's no time to manage orders and deliveries from multiple suppliers, Grainger offers everything in one place, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. All with fast delivery that helps ensure you always have what you need to put patient care first. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Chud and wrathful tantra. Behind Buddhism's peaceful, serene image lie tantric practices that are far more intense, and one of the most spine-tingling of all is chad. The word chad in Tibetan means to cut or to sever, and that's exactly the point of the practice, to cut through the root of all suffering, which is attachment to the self and the ego. What makes it appear so dark to outsiders is the way it's carried out and where. Traditionally, practitioners perform chad in frightening places, charnel grounds, remote caves, sites believed to be haunted. The purpose is clear: to place yourself in the most terrifying situation possible so you can come face to face with your deepest fears. In the practice itself, the yogi mentally visualizes offering up their own body, distributing it to various beings and spirits. This seemingly gruesome visualization is in fact loaded with spiritual meaning. By willingly letting go of the body we cling to and protect most fiercely, the practitioner trains to truly release the ego and the sense of ownership over the self. The fear that arises is seen not as an enemy, but as a teacher, revealing just how tightly the ego still grips. Chad is usually accompanied by chanting, ritual instruments like drums and trumpets made of bone, and the strict guidance of a teacher. It's worth noting that the practice remains alive and respected in Tibetan Buddhism to this day, regarded as a powerful road toward compassion and liberation. From an educational standpoint, chad is a remarkable example of how a tradition can transform raw fear into a tool for enlightenment. Cider. Cider was a form of magic and shamanic practice among the ancient Norse or Scandinavian peoples, practiced long before Christianity arrived in Northern Europe. It was closely tied to the ability to see fate, to shape destiny, and to communicate with the spirit world. In Norse mythology, even the great gods are linked to Sader. The goddess Freya is believed to have been the first to teach it, while Odin, the highest of the gods, is said to have learned it too. Though doing so carried a stigma all its own. What makes it both dark and taboo is its social dimension. Cider was associated above all with women, especially the seeress, known as the Volva, who traveled from one community to the next, delivering prophecies. When a man practiced it, he was seen as violating the norms of masculinity and was often regarded as shameful. This is one reason Odin himself drew scorn for mastering the art. The practice of Cider involved altered states of consciousness, a kind of trance in which the seer was believed to perceive the threads of fate, weaving or cutting them at will. Because this power was thought capable of changing a person's destiny, bringing fortune or ruin alike, and Cider was seen as ambivalent and difficult to control. Most of what we know about Cider comes from the Icelandic sagas and old poems written down after the pagan era had ended, which means the picture is already mixed with Christian perspectives. From an educational angle, Cider opens a fascinating window onto the spiritual world, gender, and the Viking view of fate. The Thuggee. The story of the Thuggee is one of the darkest and most hotly debated chapters in the history of India, and it's the very word from which the English term thug is derived. According to British colonial records from the 19th century, the Thuggee were a secret confederation said to have spent centuries ensnaring and killing travelers on India's roads before seizing their possessions. What made it so chilling was the religious dimension. The killings were described as offerings to the goddess Kali, the deity of destruction and transformation in Hindu mythology. According to the official reports of the era, members operated by blending in as fellow travelers, building their victims' trust over the course of days, before finally striking at what they judged to be the perfect moment. They had their own codes, rituals, and beliefs that made the act feel sacred rather than a simple robbery. But this is exactly where the debate lies. Many modern historians question just how accurate the picture of the Thuggee really was, or whether it was exaggerated by the British colonial government to justify their tight control over Indian society. William Sleeman, the British official who led the campaign to stamp them out, turned the anti-Thuggee effort into one of the great justifications for colonial power. For that reason, in educational content, the Thuggee are most compelling not as a mere horror story, but as a case study in how history is written, interpreted, and perhaps even manipulated by those in power. Whether they were a genuine murder cult, a colonial myth, or some blend of the two remains a question that fascinates historians to this day.
All right, Bubs. Have a good day.
Onmyodo. Onmyodo, literally the way of yin and yang, is a system of occult science and esoteric cosmology that developed in Japan from around the 6th century, born from a fusion of Chinese astrology, the theory of the 5 elements, Taoist teachings, and native Japanese belief. Its practitioners were called onmyoji. And at the height of their influence in the Heian era, they were no fringe sorcerers, but official court figures charged with choosing auspicious days,
Yeah, it's
reading
raining.
omens in the heavens, and protecting the capital from malevolent forces. What gives Onmyodo its dark and mysterious aura is the side of its practice that deals with spirits, curses, and supernatural beings. Onmyoji were believed to be able to summon and command servant entities called shikigami, spirits that could be ordered to spy, to protect, or even to harm an enemy.
Hello,
From this
beautiful
came
girl.
their reputation as figures capable of laying down curses, which made them both feared and revered. The most legendary figure in the tradition is Abe no Saimai, a 10th century Onmyoji whose story blends history and myth. He's portrayed as possessing extraordinary powers of divination and the ability to drive away evil spirits, and his name lives on today throughout Japanese pop culture in films, anime, and novels. Through an educational lens, Onmyodo is fascinating because it shows how a society tried to understand and control uncertainty, disaster, plague, fate through an ordered cosmological framework. It was never just magic, it was a way of thinking about the balance of the universe, one that still leaves its mark on Japanese culture today.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account.
When kids start making
Hello wonderful person, this is Anton, and today we're going to be discussing this relatively new study that proposes something not a lot of physicists considered before. Can space-time crystallize? In other words, can the spacetime itself become crystal, thus potentially creating some really bizarre effects and, more importantly, solving a lot of mysteries in cosmology? And though this might sound very speculative and somewhat unusual, this is precisely what this new study by Christian Ecker, Florian Ecker, and Daniel Grumiller tries to tackle. And here, just to kind of, start, imagine a somewhat strange situation. You're watching a star collapse that should generally result in a supernova. But even though we expect this to become a black hole or a neutron star, for some reason this one star doesn't. It actually finds itself in a kind of a perfect middle ground. A state that's so precise that it seems to represent this threshold between becoming a black hole and still being a star. Or to be more precisely, exploding as a supernova. And so in this recent study, published in a Journal of Physics Review Letters, here the paper theoretically explores what happens at this boundary, with results suggesting that the fabric of the universe itself, space-time, actually begins to behave as a kind of a crystal, and that by itself produces additional effects. And so in this video, we're going to take a look at this study and its main propositions, and also how this study actually kind of solves certain problems that stumped physicists for decades. But we'll also discuss what a space-time crystal might be, and why this discovery matters for our understanding of cosmology, the Big Bang, and how maybe one day we might even be able to detect something like this somewhere out there. But because this is such a complex topic, let's define the terms first. And actually, let's start with space-time. In our daily lives, we generally separate space and time. We think of them as two separate entities. But since the work of Albert Einstein and Hermann Minkowski, we now know for a fact that space-time is actually a single phenomenon. It's a single four-dimensional continuum. And it's not a static thing, it actually is flexible and can be curved by the presence of mass and energy, which is what we normally refer to as gravity. So basically gravity in this case is the curvature of space-time. Okay, what about crystals? Well, normally when we talk about crystallization, such as what you see here, the crystallization of citric acid, we're essentially talking about atoms and molecules arranging themselves into a highly organized repeating pattern. Basically a structure that's very easy to predict and that repeats itself over and over. But it repeats itself over and over in space. And so in some sense, a space-time crystal is a kind of a similar idea, but instead of atoms repeating in space, it's actually the geometry of space-time itself that starts to create these repeated patterns. And I guess you can sort of imagine it as this. And this happens through something referred to as discrete self-similarity. And so basically, if you were to zoom in, you would see the same pattern of curvature repeating again and again. Kind of like a fractal that echoes both in time and in space in exactly the same way. Although for a three-dimensional human brain, it is extremely difficult to imagine. Although last year, scientists were able to create something like this that kind of mimics this space-time crystal. Here, this created a curvature in space and in time with an extremely similar pattern. And well, for a very long time, scientists, and specifically physicists studying black holes, have known that these patterns seem to exist in the mathematics of the black hole formation. But they could only find these patterns using supercomputers. And these equations, known as Einstein field equations, are notoriously difficult to solve because they're nonlinear, where gravity seems to react to its own energy. And well, here the story starts in 1993, and specifically with the Canadian physicist Matthew Chukchuk, who discovered a phenomenon referred to as critical collapse. And so here when matter, and specifically is certain types of massless matter described by certain equations, is turned to the exact threshold between dispersing into space and collapsing, it seems to enter an unusual intermediate state, with computer simulations showing that this threshold exhibits unusual discrete pulses, space-time pulses, that oscillate and repeat following a geometric rhythm. And because the geometry repeats itself at regular intervals, here physicists nickname this a space-time crystal. But for over 3 decades, finding the exact formula for this, and especially the exact explanation and description of how to make this, proved to be notoriously difficult because of nonlinear complexity of Einsteinian equations. Or basically because when it comes to gravity, trying to calculate things in 4 dimensions is exceptionally difficult. And well, one of the main achievements in the study is basically finding a way to solve these equations analytically, essentially by using pen and paper and not supercomputers. And this is where this new technique known as large D expansion comes in. And the trick here is very clever. Instead of trying to solve the gravity in 4 dimensions, basically in real space-time, researchers looked at what happens if the universe had an extremely large number of dimensions represented by letter D. And surprisingly, in this limit, the equations simplify dramatically, allowing the calculations to progress very fast. And by solving the problem for a theoretical universe with, for example, 300 dimensions, they could then work backwards to find solutions that seems to work for 4-dimensional reality as well. And what they found was an infinite family of very specific solutions that describe how space-time crystallizes right at the moment a black hole is about to form. In other words, right at this point, space-time seems to create a perfect crystal. Okay, cool. But how does this explain anything, and what does any of this mean? Well, aside from this being a very interesting mathematical triumph, this has a massive implication for cosmology. And that's because in cosmology and in astrophysics, there are obviously these 2 main problems, or 2 main mysteries. First, how exactly did the universe start right before the Big Bang? And what happens inside black holes? And both of these concepts, as of today, rely on this idea of singularity, or this initial singularity that we think the universe potentially started with, and the black hole singularity that a lot of mass seems to condense into. Or basically this point where density and temperature seem to be infinite, but also don't really make sense in terms of actual reality, because we don't really think infinity should exist. And so technically the current laws of physics, especially general relativity, completely break down at this point. We don't actually have any physics to explain any of this. But this newer proposed space-time crystal potentially creates a solution for this naked singularity. In other words, we might have our first mathematical idea that can maybe explain what happens inside black holes, and of course, how the universe began. And by understanding these space-time crystals, we might also get closer to the theory of quantum gravity, basically a kind of a holy grail of modern astrophysics, an idea that might finally be able to directly connect quantum physics and general relativity, which are basically both extremely successful independently, but don't seem to have any connection between them. And to some extent, this study also potentially relates and even explains primordial black holes. Basically these hypothetical black holes that could have formed in the incredibly dense environment in the early universe, and black holes that could also maybe explain the phenomenon we refer to as dark matter. And so here, long before any stars existed, and when the universe was extremely compact and extremely hot, and even before it underwent a critical collapse, the whole universe could have been actually filled with these space-time crystals, some of which could have become primordial black holes. But as the universe transitioned from a more crystallized state into the state that it is today, these crystals collapsed into black holes, and everything else became expanding space-time. And in some sense, I guess you can kind of compare it to crystallized ice melting into water, or maybe even eventually becoming vapor. So this is essentially a kind of a transition between different phases. And since some of the recent observations from the James Webb have actually found unexpectedly large galaxies, enormous black holes, and even more black holes than we ever expected, some researchers now believe that primordial black holes might have been actually prevalent everywhere, and might
I
even
figured
have
out what
served as
happened in my
seeds
bee
for many
house.
different early galaxies to basically grow around, developing into galaxies we have today. In other words, here, assuming this is correct, it all started with the crystallized spacetime, which then transformed into something else, with some of the crystals collapsing into black holes, and these black holes slowly acquiring more mass and more gas, and becoming galaxies over time. Okay, well, theoretically this is obviously really interesting, but what about actual physical proof? Or basically, is there any way to prove any of this? Because right now this is all just a bunch of clever math. Well, the answer seems to be yes, and it seems to be in gravitational waves. And so basically here, when two black holes collide, and when they produce ripples in fabric of spacetime, there might be certain signs that we can detect over time. And so if this spacetime crystal hypothesis is correct, a lot of these merges should be producing certain types of echoes, representing slight repetitions
See
in
how
the
it's
gravitational
tilted?
wave signal that seems to happen at very
Tilted
specific
back.
intervals. But the problem is
Well,
that
it's kind of
because they would have such a small
that
amplitude,
allows the
they would
water
be
to run
actually
back
pretty
inside. The
difficult to
eave
find.
isn't
And while
working.
current detectors
There's a
such as
reason it has
LIGO
that
and
little
Virgo,
overhang, the
even though
little
they found
eave.
quite a few black hole mergers,
So,
might
and
actually
then the
not be
water probably
sensitive
sat
enough
back
to
there.
find these faint echoes for now.
So,
But because with time they always
so
get
yeah, I didn't mean to
upgraded
call
and
it a
become even more
Timu.
sensitive, the next generation of detectors, and especially the project
Call
referred
it a
to as the
Timu bee house.
Einstein telescope, will definitely have the
But
necessary
yeah, I think I
precision
messed
to
up, by the way.
discover
I
some
hung
of
it
these
up.
patterns. And so if these
I mean, it's
echoes and
still
these
gonna
patterns
weather,
are discovered, they
no
will
matter
definitely
what.
be
But
the
yeah,
smoking gun for the crystallization of spacetime, confirming this
but like,
hypothesis and
I
essentially
think it's
explaining
actually
what
designed
happens
to keep
inside
the water out a
singularities,
little
or
bit
to be more exact, how
there.
gravity behaves at
Like
these thresholds between
specifically,
black holes and exploding stars, and how some black holes
let's
potentially
see.
collapsed in order to form the mysterious dark matter. And this is, of course, a very interesting reminder that in just the last few decades, we've basically moved from seeing black holes as a kind of a chaotic, unpredictable event to seeing it as something that we can now understand, analyze, calculate, and even use to solve various mysteries. And in this case, in this study, by looking at the universe through the lens of many dimensions, researchers found a way to simplify some of the most complex equations in existence. And this research, once again, is not just about black holes, it is about the beginning of everything. that moment right before the Big Bang. And so if space-time can crystallize, then the chaos of the Big Bang might have actually been a highly organized structure that we are only now just beginning to understand. But as always, we need more studies and more data before any conclusions can be made. Although in this case, the math is definitely intriguing. On that note, once we discover something else, we'll definitely come back and discuss this in some of the future videos. Until then, thank you for watching, subscribe, come back tomorrow to learn something else, support the channel on Patreon where you can find additional videos without any ads and can DM me directly, or by joining the channel membership that grants you early access. You can also support this channel by buying the Wonderful Person t-shirt in the description below. Stay wonderful, I'll see you tomorrow, and as always, bye-bye.
What? Excuse me. Cat, out here, Mr. Frisk.
Need better internet? Cox Internet has the fast, reliable speeds you're looking for. Perfect for seamless streaming, gaming, and working from home. And now get Cox 300 meg internet with a 2-year plan price lock guarantee, plus equipment included.
No.
So get your household up to speed. Switch to Cox Internet
No,
today.
she starts purring
Taxes and
too,
fees
she
excluded
figure
from
out.
price guarantee.
She's a people cat.
So today we're going to go back and talk about a very exciting galaxy
She is
that
a
was
people
originally
cat.
discovered back in 2015. Back then, this was the far...
The
Where's my horse? What's up, big dog? Excuse me. Excuse me, for real. Pencils. Oh, I didn't know you went outside. It's kind of,
We got the stairs out here,
on the front porch. I know, huh?
so I can be a real old person and sit out there and watch the rain.
Mm-hmm. It's true though. But
I was like, whatever, I've done that.
hey, beautiful.
We shall be it.
Mm-hmm. You like the rain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
There's your donkeys.
yeah. I don't mind them.
Well, one of them is, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I moved them over here.
Um,
Did you put a name tag on it? Need to put a name tag on
I
it.
did.
Yeah, we will. We'll do that next time, huh?
You might have to put a new update for me.
Did you sleep good?
Yeah.
Good. Did you dream butterflies? Unicorns. Unicorns?
Nothing.
Nothing. Sometimes we don't remember what we dream of. I let all the horses go. I need to finish that wall.
Why?
Oh, so they can be free. I didn't need that many.
Mm.
And there's no way I was going to collect every horse. Didn't. That was too big of a project for Dad. So, did not need that many horses.
But we have lots of horses. You need to eat.
I do. Thank you. Thank you. Are you coming in to play with me a little bit? After breakfast? After we get ready? Okay.
Do you have some cereal?
I don't know. It's up to Mom.
I think they have to. I forgot cereal on the list.
Mom forgot cereal on the list.
Yeah.
Well, that happens sometimes. Sometimes that happens.
I want my favorite cereals are
habitat and groups.
That's a pretty good pick, actually.
Yeah.
Those are both, yeah, those are pretty good.
Habitat and
Captain Crunch and Fruit Loops is pretty good. Pretty good choices there. All right, that's cleaned up for now. That's Love's, that's the Wizard's Tower. Okay, we need to cut down some more of these trees here.
yes.
See those trees? They're all going to be back here. This is a graveyard. This is a cemetery behind the
Okay.
the
new ones.
church cathedral.
The new
See 'em?
trees.
Yeah, new trees. There's Mom's garden. That was our first garden, dude. Oh, there's the map room down there.
Yeah. I was down there
Were you down there?
Yes.
Chillaxing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you know that the map in a midget in Minecraft? This did a baby cheese.
Skeleton horse. I'm gonna bring a bunch of other skeleton horses up here.
Oh.
This is where.
I need to pick them up.
Yeah, this is where they're gonna live. They're gonna live in here.
Oh.
Oh, look at Daleton up there. You see it?
But you need to see.
Oh, I need to eat again too.
It is mustard fly.
Ooh, I'm sleeping in the cemetery. Ooh, sorry, it's not a cemetery yet. It's gonna be. Gonna make a cemetery, and then we're gonna have all these.
Eat.
Oh my!
Eat, Daddy, eat.
I'll keep a skeleton horse in here.
Daddy needs to eat. Who made this?
Bubs made this.
The church.
Mm-hmm. The church.
The church is that strange.
Mm-hmm. Mom made this. Mom made all this. Mom made all this.
Yeah. Mom
made
a base.
Mom made the fish shack. Bubs made the
Kaiser.
Yep. Bubs made the pirate ship.
Don't find the dog.
Okay. There's drown down there, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So don't forget that.
Mom's coming in. Start breakfast 1 minute. Mom will be in to start breakfast 1 minute. Okay. All right, we should do that. Okay. Okay.
The transformation is me.
What? A cat messing with you too much? Okay, hold on. I thought I'd never hear that. But okay, hold on. Let's see your boob. A lot better. A lot better.
We're almost done.
Almost. Totally almost. Think we should have 2 lanterns there or just 1?
I see 2.
I think maybe 2. We'll see. 1 looks kind of cool. Oh, let's go over here. Well, 1 looks kind of cool, bro. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do 1. Then we're going to do 2 up there. See that? Yeah, that looks kind of off. That makes it look cool. 2 might look almost too even.
But if there will be 2 lanterns right there, these are to be 2 and 2.
See, yeah, because then we'll put another lantern right there. And it's like 3. Be perfect. A little triangle. We didn't even mean to do that. And like the bars look good. Yeah, looks like water's flowing underneath there. All right, all right. A bit more finished. Good, good. Oh, kitty, kitty. Nuggets.
We need to take to our bath.
Think she needs a bath? Think she's ready?
Yes.
Could be.
I'm going to take to our bath. I am going to take her a bath.
Oh, you're gonna give her a bath?
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Okay.
am the dude of taking baths.
Mm-hmm. You're the best. Giving Kitty bath.
Yes.
Yep. Boom. There. Now watch this. See? Boom. We're building, Mom. Sorry. We are.
I'm not hungry.
I've got
There's Mom's fish tank. See it?
for you.
I got quesadillas.
I know you do.
Oh, you might have a quesadilla for her. Oh, yeah.
Two quesadillas?
Oh, here you go. Hey, Princess, come look at it before I move.
Take a look.
Looks kind of cool, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
I saw that.
We finished your little arch. Remember, next to the fish shack and by your tank, the fish tank?
Oh, okay. Yep.
Look, quick. Look, check it out.
The one that got blown up. There was an arch that got blown up.
Right here.
Yeah.
Remember how this was just kind of funny
Mm-hmm.
and not finished? Check it out. We finished all that. It's like water's flowing through there.
Yeah. No, because
And then I finished this wall.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I just cleaned it all up, made it look finished. I think we still have a piglin down here. You got a piglin. Just chillaxing. Doing a thing.
Don't let the pigeon attack you.
Okay, okay.
The pigeons attack you.
They will attack you, won't they?
That's nice.
And I guess that horse just kind of lives here for now. See.
Mama, have my first donkey. Mama, I have a donkey in Minecraft.
You have a donkey in Minecraft?
Yes. And I see yacht.
after like this.
Have a little trail. Yep, she'll have a little trail into her house with a gate.
Cut it into smaller triangles.
Because I need to.
Yeah.
I have two. I said the two for the little books.
Okay, when we cut to the top. Yeah, this first one up while the other one cool.
Oh, I'm going up to the castle. Are there beds up there? There's beds up here, right? Oh, look how pretty.
Okay, come here. Baby.
Beautiful.
Make sure you blow on it first. Move the napkin.
How's my mom feeling this morning?
We're good.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Nice with something.
oh, am I muted? How's my mom? Nope. Nope. Good morning.
We're good. Gotcha.
Got you on tape.
This mysterious Christian sect originated in Armenia in the 7th century, flourishing between the years 650 and 872 along the border of the Byzantine Empire and the Arab Caliphate. Their founder was an Armenian named Constantine of Manalis, who adopted the pseudonym Sylvanus, the name of one of the Apostle Paul's disciples. He was later stoned to death by order of the Byzantine Church, but astonishingly, the court official tasked with his execution converted to the teaching and carried the movement forward. Their fundamental doctrine was rooted in dualism, the evil god known as the demiurge, the ruler of this present world, and a good god, the designer of the world. He was later stoned to death. From this, they concluded that Jesus never took on human form because the good God could not possibly become human. They primarily revere the Gospel of Luke and the epistles of Paul, while rejecting the epistles of Peter and the entirety of the Old Testament. The Paulicians were a semi-secret movement with distinctly unorthodox Christian teachings, operating in the shadows due to their status as heretics in the eyes of the Orthodox Church. Fascinatingly, they never built churches and instead held their worship services nomadically. When facing severe persecution, they did not hesitate to ally themselves with Byzantine enemies, namely the Arab emirs, and even established their own semi-independent state in Tafriq. Their influence spread quietly into Western Europe, planting the seeds for the rise of Bogomilism and later Catharism. Remnants of their communities in Thrace survived in secrecy in certain areas until the 17th and 18th centuries, before slowly assimilating into other religions.
LinkedIn is pretty amazing at helping you grow your small business. We cannot make your email response time.
Something else.
The Bogomils. In mid-10th century Bulgaria, a priest named Bogomil began preaching in village homes. He called upon the people to stop attending church, declaring that priests were liars, icons were dead wood, and the material world itself was created by the devil. His movement spread clandestinely over the next 5 centuries, penetrating 2 major empires, the Byzantine and the Ottoman, and becoming one of the most enduring underground religious movements in European history. Bogomilism taught that the good God created the human soul, whereas an evil God created the entire physical universe, including the human body. They rejected church hierarchy, viewed the cross as an instrument of evil, and dismissed the Old Testament. Their secret sacred text was the Book of the Secret Supper, an apocryphal dialogue between Jesus and John, which has never been found in its original language and is known only through Latin translations. They were exceptionally skilled at hiding their identity behind a veneer of piety. A 12th century Byzantine writer, Princess Anna Komnene, described them thus: "You will not find a bogomil with a worldly hairstyle. Evil hides beneath their cloak and cowl. A bogomil appears somber, with their face muffled up to the nose, walking with bowed head. Yet beneath this appearance they harbored doctrines that fundamentally rejected the entire ecclesiastical order. Most astonishingly, their traces in the form of thousands of mysterious tombstones, stichtci, scattered across Bosnia, can still be seen today." The Waldensians. This movement began with a wealthy merchant named Waldo Valdez from Lyon, France. Around the year 1170, he experienced a crisis of conscience, sold all his possessions, and spent the rest of his life
What?
preaching the gospel. The Catholic
Must
Church
you?
excommunicated them in
You must.
1184
Oh, you must
AD and
die.
targeted them for annihilation through
My
various
bad.
military campaigns. For the next 3
I love you.
centuries,
Must
they
die.
were forced into an entirely underground existence, surviving in the remote alpine regions of France and Italy. Their primary source of inspiration was the Sermon on the Mount. They advocated nonviolence, refused to take oaths, and rejected all compromises the church made with political power. They also believed that a sacrament was only valid if administered by a morally worthy priest, meaning that the majority of Catholic priests were deemed illegitimate. One of their most revolutionary acts was translating the Bible into the vernacular rather than Latin, allowing the common people to read it, an action considered highly dangerous by the church. Their preachers in the 15th century were called barba, meaning uncle, in the Alpine dialect, to distinguish themselves from Catholic priests who were called father. The young Barbas underwent years of training, then traveled in pairs to visit underground communities of believers, disguising themselves as pilgrims and merchants to evade the Inquisition. In the early 14th century, they divided themselves into two classes: the perfecti, the perfect, who lived celibate, itinerant lives, and the credentes, the believers, who lived normally within society and even received Catholic sacraments openly, a highly sophisticated form of
Sure, one day.
camouflage. They predated the Protestant Reformation by more than
You'll be
300 years
nice,
and
good,
have communities that survive to this
nice,
day
friendly
in
little
Italy
man.
and Latin
I'm
America.
sure.
Los Alumbrados.
Little peanuts for pocket.
But yeah, I've been laughing at the cat. That's funny, the difference in cats and kittens.
I know.
So, but no, she's very people oriented.
Yeah. No, and
For
she.
good or bad, but they're like that sometimes. Like,
Mhm. Wow. And she's just making me laugh because she's like acid kitten.
mhm.
Like no, even the spazzing out.
You hooked me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, even the little sideways
No, the sideways. That's what I
sidewinder.
mean.
She'll literally attack you. Like,
Yeah.
watch. Let's see if I put my hands up. What's up, Cat? You want some? Oh, she's a bug right now. Yeah. Where's the bug at? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I threw all that other stuff away and I saved this one for washing the cup.
Oh, okay.
And I could use a new pair of gloves, please. My sweater. Because I do like the little exfoliating thingamabobbers.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't watch me with the backpack.
Yeah, two doubles.
Oh, but this was a fake. It was early or
Uh-huh.
early.
Yeah, he closed last night
Oh,
and then has two doubles.
wow.
Yeah.
And I got home later than midnight, so I got home around.
Yeah, probably so. Friday night. And it was a decent night before rain. Yeah. I bet you it was. Okay.
You having a waffle girl? Mm. Or did you want to have some?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
Yeah, the bottom, the small container is the quesadilla, the bigger container, oh, it's out. It's the waffles. And then there's the cantaloupe and pineapple should be. Yeah, the cantaloupe or the pineapple and cantaloupe burns. Yes. And then I don't know how long your shift is with the black bean salad with meat, pizza, chicken things.
Coming home. Can
Can
I
I give you some more salad, please?
You could take a slice of pizza for a snack.
Yeah.
Should someone give us some pavado?
Some what?
More pavados.
Please?
Like technically my kids isn't long enough, but like I get a meal.
Yeah.
Meal breaks. But I'm also better long enough that like it goes through the meal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And you get like what, 15-minute break every
Yeah, you know. That's typically.
Yeah, it's hanging out.
Okay.
On the-
So you're
Do you want me to make that Susie?
little babies. Oh, my little monster. Oh, my little monster. Look at this cute little baby. Paper.
Yep, we'll make him.
Sorry. No.
Ah. But yes, Sydney Feather left it last night. She left a bigger mess behind her than my daughter. I was like, I don't know.
I've trained it all the way up to like 50.
Yeah.
Let's do some stuff.
Hold anything like that. Oh, the elf shoes. Yeah. What? Where's the elf shoes? I don't know about where. Yeah. Okay. Hey, no, 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 no. Water bottle's not for cleaning kitty, it's for telling kitty to stop doing stuff. Plugged my phone in last night. The charger was unplugged.
Mm. That is inconvenient.
Yep. Tomorrow's more like early. Ugh. But, 4 a.m.? No, it's just I am sick though. Still. We're gonna be annoying. Yep. Both times up. Let's get it in tomorrow. That's what he said.
What's up, beautiful girl?
So Dad. Both your kids have the working kid blues. Can you hear when how's your body doing?
Adjust,
doing
adjusting.
it's doing good.
Back's a little better.
Mm-hmm. It'll all over that much.
Yeah.
I'm just
You probably just, yeah.
Try it.
Your
Try
muscle
it.
was just overworked. Yeah. Spazzing out a little bit. Takes a minute.
I'm giving you the you'll get stronger speech.
Yeah. Speed.
True though.
It's true.
Basic training.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was all propagandist bullshit too, but it's real.
Adversity.
Mm-hmm.
It's too small. Bummer. Oh, it's super sad. Super sad. It happened.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
It happened. I don't know if that's true necessarily, but yeah.
Where is the other Elsa thing?
Outside.
Oh, Elsa too. Well, yeah. Hey, baby, if you were your stuff is too small, then you can make it high.
Yeah, but almost 47. Did the car drive any better? Different?
Like
The same is good too.
different, but it
Okay.
wasn't like it was a good, you know.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the car has had days where it's like driving pretty rough, but it's just like normal. Chill.
But yeah, we're gonna make an appointment, I think, with that same guy. I think it might be missing again too. We'll see. Like running a little rough.
Yeah.
I think it might be that. Maybe take it in. And let's try and look that. What was his name? It wasn't Lisa, right? No, yeah, that's okay.
What?
No, this.
Yeah, it's a person nobody wanted, so it became a paper.
The real one.
Actually, wait, Ginsky.
Just for
This
baby.
is going. That no, this is. Didn't that pink fighter that was out there going?
I probably have that very well.
I'll take.
Everybody ever made.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
I do have it too. Because you haven't put anything in it? Maybe. Maybe?
LOL. Oh, that's convenient.
So I've been cleaning up the Minecraft world, the family world. Mm-hmm. Was trying to square up around the. I think it's looking pretty good. We'll see. Trying to square up around the wood shop, that entrance. You know, your old base right there.
Yeah.
So, and I'm leaving all that, but it's yeah. That's
Yeah,
gonna,
I know.
it's gonna work out perfect. I think. We'll see. I'm trying to put some trees back in, but then you get terrified. But danger, danger.
I need it before.
But what? What?
I
Remember the first.
I don't know where that went. It's somewhere, baby. Yep. I saw it in here. Might be in the toy box, which is buried right now. Mm.
The Alumbrados, meaning the enlightened ones, were practitioners of Christian mysticism in the crown of Castile during the 15th and 16th centuries. Some deviated only slightly from orthodoxy, while others held views that were explicitly deemed heretical by the authorities of the time. Consequently, they were severely suppressed and became the first victims of the Spanish Inquisition. The name was first recorded in a letter from a Franciscan friar to Cardinal Jimenez de Cisneros in the year 1494. The Alumbrados believed that the human soul could reach such a level of perfection that it could contemplate the essence of God and comprehend the mystery of the Trinity even in this present life. From this state, the soul could neither advance nor regress. Consequently, participation in the liturgy, good works, and adherence to outward forms of religious life were deemed unnecessary for those who had received the light. Their prominent leaders, Isabel de la Cruz and Pedro Ruiz de Alcaraz, were arrested by the Inquisition in 1524. Isabel was condemned and spent years in imprisonment under harsh conditions. In 1525, the
Lunch, braces, anything else, major work, badges, keys.
Oh, water bottle.
Back here, bro. The problem is that moment you realize Minecraft is work.
Yeah, yeah.
To accomplish something. It's one thing when it's fun, but if you once you set a goal,
It's actual.
yep.
It's not just easy.
Your free will has been taken from you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. Working on like church, castle, dog, like dang, Brian, but it's like it's work. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna relax. It's hard. No.
No, it's yeah. I saw something the other day. I should look it up, but they recreated downtown Tulsa.
Yeah.
Imagine having to. Yeah, yeah. All right, all right. Yeah, I think you did pretty good with cat. This we'll see. I think it's a people cat. I know. I see that thing. I see that silly thing. Cat. Yeah. She's a kitten. Yeah. Huh? In a minute. It's too messy in there. You're gonna have to wait. Wait till sis goes to work. Mom comes back in. You pick up the pallet, etc., etc.
The Inquisition issued an edict listing 48 heretical propositions from this movement. What is historically most intriguing, Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuit order while studying at Salamanca in 1527, was brought before an ecclesiastical commission on charges of sympathizing with the Alumbrados, but he escaped with only a reprimand. Some historians believe their teachings quietly influenced the great Spanish mystics, such as Saint Teresa of Avila and John of the Cross.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
The Christiani. The Bosnian Church is the most mysterious Christian institution of medieval Europe. It was independent of and considered heretical by both the Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox hierarchies. Its adherents called themselves Christiani, Christians, or Dobri Bosniani, good Bosnians. The organization and beliefs of this church remain highly elusive, as almost no records were left behind by its own members. It is known primarily through the writings of outside sources, particularly Catholic ones, that Christiani did not build churches and referred to their shrines as inns while wholly rejecting the Eucharist. They also rejected the sacrament of confession to a priest, viewing the practice itself as a sin. To this day, historians fiercely debate whether they were a Gnostic Manichaean sect, a branch of Bogomilism, or simply an independent church estranged by geographical isolation. There is no final scholarly consensus. Their greatest mystery is the physical legacy they left behind, scattered across Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, Montenegro, and western Serbia. Approximately 70,000 medieval tombstones known as steci stand in fields and on hillsides. They are carved with spirals, dancers, deer, swords, crescent moons, and figures with raised hands and gestures that no one can fully explain. For over a century, these stones were claimed to be Bogomil tombstones, but modern research has proven that claim to be unfounded, deepening the mystery of their identity. The church eventually died out following the Ottoman conquest in 1463, and the majority of its adherents subsequently converted to Islam. The Carbonari. The Carbonari were an informal network of secret revolutionary societies active in Italy from around 1800 to 1831. They first gained prominence in the Kingdom of Naples during the Napoleonic Wars, then spread across the Italian peninsula, even influencing revolutionary movements in France, Portugal, Spain, Brazil, Uruguay, the Ottoman Empire, and Russia. The organization was peculiar and mysterious, featuring fantastical rituals replete with symbols drawn from both the Christian faith and the charcoal-burning trade. A lodge was called a vendita sale, and members greeted one another as buoni cugini, good cousins. God was revered as the Grand Master of the universe. Christ was the honorary Grand Master, also known as the Lamb, and every Carbonaro swore an oath to liberate the lamb from the wolf, which represented tyranny. On September 13th, 1821, Pope Pius VII, through the papal bull Ecclesiam a Jesu Christo, condemned the Carbonari as a Masonic secret society and excommunicated all its members. Yet what is astonishing is the list of prominent figures who joined Giuseppe Garibaldi, the unifier of Italy, began his career as a Carbonaro. The same was true of Giuseppe Mazzini, the father of Italian nationalism. Even the English poet Lord Byron joined out of his deep love for Italy. In 1820, a revolution they led successfully forced King Ferdinand I of Naples to swear at the church altar to grant a constitution to the people. A historic victory, though it was later crushed by Austrian intervention.
You be careful with that.
Sovereign Military Order of Malta, SMOM. This order traces its institutional continuity to the Knights Hospitaller, a chivalric order founded around 1099 by Blessed Gerard in the Kingdom of Jerusalem. For centuries, they ruled the island of Rhodes and later Malta before being expelled by Napoleon in 1798. After years without a homeland, they finally established their headquarters in Rome in 1834. The order has 3 tiers of membership. The Knights of Justice, who take the 3 monastic vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, functioning much like monks. A middle tier of those who dedicate themselves more deeply, and a 3rd tier comprising approximately 13,500 knights and dames drawn from the global elite. Its mission is Tuitio Fidei et Obsequium Pauperum, defense of the faith and assistance to the poor.
Because I haven't
SMOM maintains formal diplomatic relations with 114 nations, including the Holy See, and holds permanent observer status at the United Nations. What makes them so enigmatic is that despite possessing no territory, population, or economy of their own, they issue their own passports, currency, and diplomatic license plates. Various conspiracy theories claim SMOM was behind the Kennedy assassination, or that its members include former CIA directors, top-ranking military generals, and CEOs of the world's largest corporations. Their membership initiation processes, internal hierarchy, and the true agenda behind their diplomacy almost never leak to the public. Order of the Holy Sepulchre. This order is one of the oldest active chivalric orders with roots that can be traced back to the Crusades of the 11th century. It operates directly under papal authority and is led by a cardinal, appointed specifically by the Pope to serve as Grand Master. The order was formally established in its modern structure during the 14th century, though its historical claims reach much further back. Its mission is to support the Catholic Church's presence in the Holy Land, to fund Christian institutions in Jerusalem and Palestine, and to guard and maintain the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the site traditionally believed to be the location of the crucifixion, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Its members are divided into several classes: Knight, Grand Cross, Knight Commander, Knight, and Dame. What shrouds this order in mystery is the extraordinary caliber of its membership. Its ranks include heads of state, cabinet ministers, prominent bankers, and aristocrats from across the Catholic world. Yet unlike SMOM, they are almost never the subject of media coverage. The nomination and selection process for members is highly secretive and private. Alongside SMOM, they are the only two orders whose insignia are permitted to be displayed on the heraldic coats of arms of Catholic clergy, an exceedingly rare and exclusive privilege.
You were meant for this journey of change, so follow the Walden Wayfinder.
The Family of Love was a mystic sect or society founded around 1540 by a wealthy German merchant, Hendrik Nicolais. The group was Nicodemite in nature, meaning they were systematically secretive, encouraging their members to outwardly conform to whatever religion prevailed in their surroundings. The familists believed that the visible church, with its hierarchy and ritualistic splendor, was fundamentally corrupt and irrelevant. Instead, they claimed that the kingdom of God was spiritual and internal, present within the hearts of true believers. This internal focus meant that they rejected the outward signs of Christianity, such as baptism and the Eucharist, deeming them unnecessary for salvation. Among the identified familists were the cartographer Abraham Ortelius and the publisher Christopher Planty, who by day worked as a printer of Catholic documents for King Philip II of Spain's Counter-Reformation, while secretly printing familist literature by night. In the 1580s, it was discovered that several of Queen Elizabeth I's yeomen of the guard, her personal bodyguards, were familists. The Queen took no action against them, raising enduring questions about her own private beliefs. This remains one of history's most astonishing examples of a secret sect infiltrating the highest echelons of power. The Ancient Order of Hibernians. This order finds its roots in 16th century Ireland as a clandestine Catholic protection network formed amid the brutal suppression of the Catholic faith by English Protestant rulers. Its members secretly protected outlawed Catholic priests, hiding them in members' homes and ensuring the celebration of the Mass, which had been declared illegal. In the 19th century, the order crossed over to America alongside waves of Irish immigrants. The order intertwined fervent Catholic devotion with a profound sense of Irish nationalism. New members underwent an initiation ritual that included oaths of loyalty to the Catholic Church, to their fellow members, and to the Irish cause. Their meetings were structured like those of a fraternal order, complete with distinct symbols and official titles. The Ancient Order of Hibernians operated as a Catholic secret society that, as formally established in the 19th century, initially focused on Irish independence. Its underground network played a crucial role in advancing the Irish nationalist struggle. What made them truly mysterious in their early era was their method of extreme secrecy. Members utilized special codes and signals to recognize one another in public. Their cell structure was highly decentralized, ensuring that the arrest of one member could not dismantle the rest of the network. Furthermore, many of their rituals and documents were never recorded in writing. They were passed down entirely by word of mouth from member to member.
Hello, wonderful person, this is Anton, and let's talk about wormholes. And to start, let's go back to 1935.
Daughter, be very careful.
Love you, baby girl. Yes, be very careful out there.
You know the drill. If invisibility gets too bad, you pull over, be like, look, work. You know what I mean? Yes, it's not working.
Love you, baby girl. Have a good day. We'll see you in just a little bit.
What's this getting pulled? Oh, that's the neighbor.
Uh-huh. I had it hung up there. I was gonna move it, and then it started raining. Uh-oh, honeymoon's over.
Here.
Alright. I'm figuring it out, baby girl.
If you do good for you, so put yourself up on it.
Okay. Well, you can't leave soap on there forever, right?
Put your spots.
I know it. Right? Don't put soap. Yeah, you can't play with soap too much. Gotta wash it off of there. Go wash the soap off. I'll give you some booby cream. Boo boo cream. Okay. Yeah, I think I figured it out. That. All right, bro. I'm gonna need your help. You're not playing that other game anymore. You could help me on this again. Look, all your stuff is still done, still there, looking good. I know that warehouse is more than you figured on. Mhm. But no, it looks really good. All your stuff looks really good. Especially it's playing with Isabel,
Yeah.
and she's just that age. You know what I mean? Like it's really stuck to her,
Yeah.
and trying to figure out how to get through there. And it's really cute.
Messed up machine.
Sorry.
Do you hear the fish tank water?
No, I do. Ooh, thank you. No, that's the fish sizzle for real.
Oh, that's what I came in to tell you.
Careful too. Oh no, good thing I warned you. I'll turn it off here in 1 minute. Now you made me lose my train of thought. Dirt, dirt, dirt. Okay. Wait. Oh, wait, wait.
didn't we do? No, Izzy go to eat. Oh, what? Yeah, she's been up for a while. Do you not see her coming? I feel. No, I was on the third. No, I you want one and two. I won't give exactly at the time. No. What type of waffle are you doing here, Tim? Rubber ground. That makes me have to work. Okay, this one I can throw away. The one.
No, that's
Oh, no,
one
that's
I threw the others away. Yeah.
no bacon. Sounds good. No.
No, that's one I threw the other.
Space for that. So that I can eat. No. No.
That converse with your dad. Get what fruit you want.
I'm making you no. Ow. Ow, the pain.
See my dad. Oh.
Pain.
Dad
It hurts, it hurts.
Dad thinks you should be able to eat it yourself. No.
I don't involve me. I don't even know what's happening right now.
Go ahead, there better be no stickiness on it.
Ooh, mom is so nice.
No stickiness. Better take a couple now.
Bet.
A minute. Why is that kid will keep
You want for an inconvenient things?
not my choice. Yeah, the one.
Your sister's kitten. Hey, Eve, don't overreact. Come on, put the cat down. I'm sorry, cats do that.
Yeah, I get this.
Uh-huh.
That's the fun part.
You can't love the kitty and then hate the kitty. It's just kitties are kitties. Alright, got distracted. What was that?
Busy there. Hey, that's enough. I know you're sad, but it can be done again.
I'll go for it. Okay, baby. I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration. I think. What we messed up? That wasn't. No, I don't even really say anything.
It's her little desk, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
That's why I didn't run over.
Yeah. She didn't have it all. Come on, okay. Then let's not. Let's put it up, baby. Or put the cat up. What do you want to do? Let's go back to the egg easy. Yeah, let's go put Kitty up for a little while. There we go. Perfect. Careful. Probably should have done that already.
Probably. After you get it set up, just go ahead and get dressed and eat. vitamin. That's the thing.
That one's big into having some control, I think, over her life. And I totally get it.
She's probably a low logic kid.
Think so.
Yeah. That way you get your choices.
Mm-hmm.
Choice.
Really helps.
Yeah.
That's right, Neo. I think the answer to that question is always yes. No, is it not? I mean, maybe not, but
Right before dinner.
that, yeah. But
Like, can I have some more carrot?
I was thinking the same thing, like celery or even watermelon. I was like, I wonder if that's why watermelon got to be watermelon.
Sydney took down like a quarter of a water.
Because, like, mom never says no to more watermelon.
It was like 17 pieces. Literally, there was like half of the. And then, like, I'm cleaning up their stuff, and I looked down, and I was like, no way. And then Sydney came and said, I ate all that watermelon, Mom.
Right.
A lot of water. So you can just like build up the amount of watermelon.
I'm totally balling out our base. I think so. Just trying to square it up. You have a horse that lives over by, you know, the pond that we all fought over behind the bakery shop? When I set the horses free, one of them went over there and just lives there now,
Oh.
I guess.
Near the water?
Like, yeah, right on top, right by it, yeah. I'm sure now that I said something, it'll move, but... Yeah. After you got to get everything done, got to get clothes on, hair done, all that, etc., etc., etc. Hey, that does not sound like peace and love.
I know it's showing. Yeah, I don't want to drink this. Daddy, video vibing. I am the for a month. After class. I still so good.
Mhm. Mhm. Easy. All right. Figuring it out. Figuring it out.
I'm going to my combo. I don't sleep this every night, so. I get to sleep this the car. Mom, are we doing? No. No, I'm doing it, Mom. Oh.
pajamas in the laundry. Wow. Looking good, girl.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What is it? Right. Even Martin sent me a play with me. That's exactly what it's going to play.
Easy, ladies. What's going on? What? In a minute, maybe. We gotta set it up. I said maybe. We'll see. See how she did that to me?
Ice cream. Yeah. I'll get them that way to see the real place. That's what. Ew. I don't like sliding stuff. It's the little boat. I tried to have my son off.
That's enough.
I don't think so.
I think it was weird. What's it bad?
No, it's flashlights. Not filling it all the way to the top.
Mommy, going down the Mama, so how to be wet? Mama, so how to be wet?
Get a towel for the bobbies.
Where's that?
Hey, let her play.
She messed it up.
We can't keep them the same way the whole time. Isabel. Baby, you have to let her play. You're with the floor.
Don't be too controlling, baby girl. You can't, yeah. That's part of Barbies. They're not permanent. They're not even Legos. Come on. And you gotta let other people play.
I think Sigmund just knocked it over.
Oh.
What happened?
Oh. So,
So
we look.
It's a little unstable. It's gonna be